Welcome to number 4 of the step-by-step setup guide to Home Assistant to learn the basic skills needed for a good experience. Today, I will introduce scripts, scenes, and automations. A quick review of where we are. We likely have some, but perhaps not all, of our physical devices added through integrations, and perhaps have them displayed on a dashboard. The next step is to begin working on the control aspect of our smart home. We will do this with scripts, scenes, and automations. What are these and what is the difference? A script is a sequence of actions we want our physical devices to take. Scripts are a useful way of grouping actions together we use frequently, such as turning everything off or a goodnight routine. On its own, a script needs human intervention to run, either by clicking a Run button on the dashboard or by voice command. An automation is the same thing as a script, except it has an additional feature. No human input is needed. Home Assistant will constantly monitor for sets of situations you have specified. When the situation occurs, then Home Assistant will run the sequence of actions part of the automation. Some examples are: when there is motion detected, turn on the lights. When it is 10 p.m., turn off downstairs lights, turn on hallway lights and bedroom lights, and turn on the heated blankets. No human intervention is needed. All of this is automatic. A scene is similar to a script, but instead of a list of actions, it is a list of states and attributes. Traditionally, a scene has had an emphasis on lights. Common examples include a scene for light settings while watching TV, or a scene for kitchen lights for cooking, or a scene for exercise workouts. The end result of running a scene can resemble a script, since both of these can achieve similar results. Typically, a script can do anything a scene can, though a scene is particularly useful when temporarily storing settings. To clarify, a scene is a list of states and attributes. A script is a list of actions that change the states or attributes. Both of these are similar, and in a lot of cases, you could choose to go with either one, but underneath, they are not exactly the same. There are multiple ways to write scripts, scenes, and automations, such as with Node-RED, YAML, or using blueprints. Blueprints can create scripts and automations for you, but I believe people will have a better experience if they learn how to do it themselves first. The beginner method is using the UI. We will start with scripts using the UI editor. In the UI, go to Configuration, Automations, and Scenes. At the top, click the tab for Scripts. Then click the blue button Add Script. In the upper section, enter a name. This is a friendly name and can use capital letters and spaces. Personally, I do not bother choosing an icon here because I prefer to do that on the dashboard itself. I also leave Entity ID blank. The system will generate it for me when I click Save, and it will be based on the friendly name. I'd like to keep these similar. For mode, choose Single. These options decide what to do if you tell a script to start that was already in the middle of running. For longer scripts or those with timers, accidentally starting it again could cause problems. The single mode means the script must finish before you can start it again. In the lower section, Sequence is where we will specify the list of actions. We can base our actions on devices or entities. Earlier, we used entities on the dashboard, so why is there an option to use devices for scripts? This is because a device is grouping all of its related entities together, which is going to make it easier to see all the possible control actions in one place. The device option is kind of like a shortcut. Entities are actually doing the real work underneath. So the recommended method for beginners is to use devices. Be sure action type is set to device. Below it, in the device drop-down, choose your target device. In my example, I will choose a light bulb. In the action drop-down, choose what you would like your light bulb to do. If available, you can also set additional options like brightness and color. All scripts must contain at least one action. You can add as many actions as you like. Once we click Save, the script's integration will generate an entity ID for your new script. This means we can add it to our dashboard. But for now, let's click the back arrow and let's create another script. A script I've found useful in my home is a script that will turn everything off. I use it like a master shutdown command for my entire home. Another script possibility for you to consider is to create a script to be used for testing. We can start building our own tools to use for testing purposes that will not disturb other people in our home, such as when we decide to have a late-night home assistant binge. While creating your scripts, there is something important to be aware of. When selecting devices, not everything in the drop-down list is a valid option. Some of these will not work. Devices you choose must have control entities that belong to it. If your device does not have a control entity, the Actions drop-down area will stay grayed out and will give no indication on what's wrong. In my case, the weather is in this list, as well as my Philips Hue hub. Neither of these has any control entities. A possible way to help prevent this is to look at the devices for each of your integrations. So I will save my work here and go to the integrations page. For all of your devices, check to be sure which ones have control entities and which ones do not. For any that do not, be sure the device names make it obvious. If you wish, you can rename them to help you remember. A warning pop-up may appear. Do you also want to rename the entity IDs of your entities? If you see this, click No. We only want to change the device name and leave the entities alone. Renaming devices like this is just a crutch to use in the beginner stage. After a while, it will be second nature and you will not need to bother with this. Back in the scripts editor, we can go back to editing the script we were working on. We can see our devices in the drop-down and will hopefully be more aware that not every device in this list can be used. We can continue adding actions for each device. While my screen resolution is making this menu appear cramped, it does still illustrate the real benefit to using devices. This list of actions already shows all of the possibilities. All you have to do is choose which one you want. Another point to be aware of is once you click the Add Action button, you are forced to complete this section before you can save your script. Clicking Save before this section is complete will result in a very quick message at the bottom of your screen, and your script will not save. Mine says, "Message malformed, integration not found." If you need to, the entire action can be deleted by clicking the 3 dots in the corner, and then you can save your script. Once the script is saved, click the back arrow in the upper left to bring us back to the list of scripts. Here are some things to note on this page. Clicking the play icon will run the script so you can test if it works. The icon next to it does nothing. In other parts of Home Assistant, we can usually click on the icon to see the More Info pop-up, but not here. We have to click this little eye in the circle icon instead. If we want to delete a script, we first have to edit it by clicking the pencil icon. Then, once on this screen, click the 3 dots in the upper right and choose Delete. Now, let's add our new scripts to our dashboard. In Lovelace, go to Edit mode and add a new card. The Entities card is a nice choice because it is compact. The entity IDs will start with a domain of script.whatever you named it. The Run command is immediately operational. There is not really any feedback after you click it, other than if you see your stuff turning on or off. Another nice choice for displaying scripts on your dashboard is to use the Button card. Add the entity ID for the script and select an icon if you wish to change it. There is an icon picker built in, so typing a topic will filter a list for you to choose. The Button card is big. For a tidy, more compact look, try the Grid card. The Grid card will nest other cards inside of it. First, choose the number of columns. Then choose your first card. For this example, I'll choose the Button card and configure it just like before. It is possible to test your new button while still in preview mode. If the first button works, let's add a second. There is a plus icon. It's somewhat hard to see, but it's closer to the top. Clicking that will begin the middle column of the grid. Choose a card for the second button, set the entity ID and icon, then test. To add a third card, click the plus again. It is possible to choose different cards for your grid if you wish. To add more rows to your grid, just add more cards. The arrows will change the order of your cards, and you can delete a card. This concludes today's video. Join me next time where I will introduce helpers and how to create automations.